All right. Just gotta make sure that the stream is actually working. I started a little late. Basically, my audio was terrible. So, but we can get this started already since I am running late. Let's put my phone over here. See if we can drink some water too. All right, so today I do have a brand new case that I printed out, and it's made for some pretty, I guess, unique parts. But it's been really fun because a lot was learned during this project, and I'm excited to share it with everyone. So let's just get started. This is actually straight from the 3D printer, and so live I will do some post-processing, so there's a lot of support material that I had to remove. So let's just get started with that now. Let me change the camera so that you can kind of get a look at most of the angles. But essentially, we'll just get started on it. And if you are curious, the part was printed in this orientation, so this is the bottom. And obviously we have a method of creating a screen by utilizing, by telling the software not to print the top and bottom layers. You can get this like cool screen effect that's part of the actual part. And normally, I mean, you might be asking why don't I have it up here? It's because that only really happens when you're dealing with top and bottom layers. And yeah, so let's get those taken out, and then we're gonna have to do some heat inserts. And actually, while I'm doing that, maybe I do plug in my soldering iron so that we don't have to wait for it to heat up later on. We'll just leave it running, and hopefully I don't burn myself while it's on. All right, so the support should come off easily enough. So this is the top vent, and let's see if it'll come off. Yeah, it looks like it's coming off pretty easily. Nice. We do have like some boogers over here. It's probably too hard to see on camera. If you look at the top right hand corner, you will see that there's a little booger here, but it should be easy enough to take off. I'm just going to use these side cutters. And yeah, clean enough. I printed this out in PETG with carbon fiber embedded in it, and I know there are some like health concerns around that particular filament, but again, this is a PC case. This isn't some sort of like screwdriver handle where I'm actually like touching it all the time, even though I'm touching it right now. But the downsides are, in my opinion, overblown a little bit. But the upsides, though, is that this thing just prints so nicely. Like, and I was even able to print it at like super fast speeds. I think this thing took about, I think it was around 7 hours for this, or like 6-ish. And but look, I mean, it came up pretty well, in my opinion. All right, so let's get the bottom vent out now. This one doesn't seem to be as smooth. Oh, it's because I have little bridges here that are kind of providing strength for the supports. And so there's the other support gone, and I just almost touched the soldering iron, so that's good. All right, so those are the major supports. No, I'm wrong. So we have other supports in the back as well. A little violent, but we got it. And if my audio is sounding funny, let me know, because I actually started late because my audio was going crazy. I have these 3 webcams that they have built-in microphones, but they're like complete garbage. And normally I deactivate it, but for some reason they were active, and oh my god, like thankfully I did start a recording just to see what was coming out, and it was pretty terrible. All right, so now I'm just taking my utility knife, because I do have some like boogers here and there. I mean, in all honesty though, because this particular build is not going to be utilizing the I/O shield, it doesn't really matter. But we'll get it off anyways. All right, and now we'll get the support for the button out. Well, hopefully it comes out. Let me see. It's being a little stubborn, but I'm just pushing it. You can see it right here in the top right hand corner. Just gonna push it out. Okay, so it came out. Great. And I do have this little funky deburring tool, and essentially you just put it in the hole and give it a few little spins, and it kind of does a pretty good job. You might be asking, like, why don't I do proper printing techniques where I don't make circles so I don't have to have supports? I could, but you're compromising the aesthetic. I feel like whenever you're doing, like, you should technically build it so that there's no arch over there. You could probably put like a little triangle, but it is what it is, and I'm pretty happy with it. So maybe I should just dry fit. There's a little button here that I printed out, but yeah, see, the button fits, so I'm not really concerned. Okay, so we got some more supports, and this is where it gets a little funky. I even brought up my drill for it, but the motherboard I'm using has I/O in the front, so it has like headphone jacks, USB, and USB-C, and they also got some supports done on them, and so I need to take them out. But before I do that, there are some supports here for the power button, I think. Yeah. Oh man, that kind of freaked me out. I was like, what is that? Yeah. So here we go. Okay, so now I've got these little supports inside these holes. It's a little hard to see. I don't know if it's going to be showing on the camera, but I do need to empty them out. And I'm hoping that my little needle nose pliers will be enough to take them out, because I do need to put heat inserts inside them. So they definitely have to be clear, because they are mounting points. And I guess here I should have, I mean, in general, I should have really, I should do better practices for 3D printing. Like, I could make my own supports so that I don't have to rely on the software, because sometimes the software puts too much and it makes it really hard to remove. Or I could even just tell it not to put supports in some places. I've done that before, but this one I just kind of threw on the printer and just hit go. Which is, in my opinion, more fun. Yeah, again, if the audio sounds like total crap, let me know, because I could just restart it or something. Okay, so we got the buttons out, and oh, the I/O. Okay, so this is where it gets a little scary. I do need to like poke them out, so I think I'm gonna take my little screwdriver here, and hopefully it comes out. Okay, so cool. So now in the front here, it's hard to see because they're really small, but I have like LED through holes, and so those are clear. And then I'm gonna tackle the headphone mount now. Yay, that came out pretty well. And so did the USB-C and the normal USB and the other headphone mount, probably microphone. Cool. Now, this is a live stream. I haven't built in this case yet, so it could very well end up being a really short live stream, because I don't even know if like my measurements were all correct. And already I noticed I really messed up. So in the back, I think I got hyper focused on doing this little text over here that I forgot to add in a feature. You'll see it when you look at the files when I share them after the stream. But it was a pretty goofy thing I did. Basically, I didn't put in antenna holes, but luckily for this build, I'm not even using the Wi-Fi from the kit. I'll just be using like a USB dongle for Wi-Fi. I think that's the reason why I totally forgot, is because I knew that like I wasn't going to be fiddling with the antennas, because they're currently on the Forza build, and I mean, I know this is like the second stream I've done in like this month, I think, and I said that I would finish the video editing for that particular video, but I have not, and I haven't done all the photos I want to do, so I haven't dismantled it yet, because I didn't realize I still had to shoot some footage for it. But maybe I'll just even skip that one. I don't know. I'm so burnt out on the video editing. All right. Okay, so I think I got most of the post-processing done. So basically there was a bunch of supports within these holes, but they look like they are all clear now. Before we move on, maybe I'll do some dry fitting. Now originally I have these vents for the top and bottom, and I envision them to be installed and then glued in, but I think for this instance I might just like lightly touch the edges with my soldering iron, so I'm kind of just like soldering it, or not soldering, but melting or welding it in instead. But I'm just going to do a dry fit to make sure they even fit. It's pretty tight. Okay, it does fit. I might even just do like a dab of like super glue maybe. So that's cool. So the top fits, and now the bottom also fits. Yeah, I'm still trying to get the hang of the clearances I need for this particular printer that I have. It's definitely more precise than my previous printer, but obviously depending on the orientation you're printing, the tolerances do change. Like for instance, this one here, it's like not fitting so well on one side. I don't know why. It could just be like some deformation. Maybe, let's see. I don't feel anything weird. Anyways, but as a quick preview, essentially this is like the majority of the case, but if you can see, I think it looks pretty clean. And the neat thing about this is that normally the motherboard I'm going to be using for it has like a power brick, kind of like a laptop. But through a bunch of research, I did find out how to get rid of the power brick in quite a unique, fun, and also dangerous way. But before I go ahead and glue or weld these in, I do want to tackle the heat inserts, and we've got so many of them. So this might take a while to do, and I hope I can get a good view. Look at this, I prepared like safety glasses. I didn't even bother using them. Use your safety glasses, don't be like me. Okay, so I'm going to situate this right here. And yeah, so we've got a bunch of heat inserts to install. I'm currently running my soldering iron at 300 degrees Celsius. And yeah, let's just get started. So the first ones I want to tackle are let's get this right here. There's three in the back here, and these are going to be for the mounting bracket for the graphics card or whatever I/O you're going to be using. Let's see now. So that's going in. One done, and a whole lot more to go. But this is actually pretty relaxing, I'll be honest, doing the heat inserts. It's kind of like therapeutic to just kind of sit there and just watch it kind of like sink down. It's pretty interesting. Oops, it's a little okay, cool. All right, so those three are done, and it looks like I set out another 4, and I think that's for the motherboard. Now some of these might be a little hard to get to, but I mean, just as long as you're applying heat, it's gonna get there. And right now I'm just like pre-placing them in. I did measure my mounting holes so that I can at least put in the first lip of the heat inserts in so that they kind of stay in place. But I'm actually almost out. Oh my god, it was totally touching my soldering iron to this tool and it melted it. Whoops. All right. So let's see if you can see this. So now I'm going to be just pressing in these heat inserts for the motherboard. What's up, chap? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Oh yes, the heat inserts. Use your glasses and oh my god, and gloves. No gloves. It actually might be more dangerous with the gloves, so you lose a little bit of control. But yeah, I should be wearing glasses. Should be doing a lot of things. Okay, so this one's a little sketchy because it's so close to the wall, but I think we got it. No, we don't. I lied. I did not get it. It's just bad lighting. Okay. And more heat inserts. I've seen a lot of YouTubers making a lot of small cases lately. Unfortunately, this one doesn't like compete in like outright size, but it's still pretty fun. And sometimes you just can't get it that small because of, well, I'm having a hard time with this one here. Let me see. It's hard to get it super small sometimes because you have to accommodate for like wall thickness. Wow. Maybe I should address this in the actual CAD. But, you know, again, you can just press in the heat inserts from a different angle if you need to, which is what I'm doing right now. Instead of going straight down, I'm just kind of approaching it from the side and then melting it and hoping that's straight. So I did touch some of the plastic and it's like burning right now, but I think every 3D printer should have like a brass brush, and basically now I have plastic on the tip of this soldering iron, so while it's still hot, you can literally just like brush it off. And definitely wear safety glasses for that. Alright, so now we got the motherboard heat inserts in, and now we're going to be installing two more right over here. Let me just move this up. And these are for the PCI riser mounts. And it should be straightforward just like the other ones, because we can at least just go straight down into them. There you are. And man, but I'm so excited it's Friday. This has been a long week over it. So happy for the weekend. And ooh, I do have some pretty sketchy ones I need to do. So these are the mounting brackets for the PCI Express riser, and they're pretty small and they do require a heat insert put in them. I'm just trying to remember which orientation it's supposed to be. I know that's going to be like this, so I think it's like this. Okay. I mean, not that it matters. You can actually put the heat insert upside down. It'll actually still work because the threads will catch no matter what. But if you designed it a certain orientation, you might as well aim for that. So that's good. And again, let me remind myself, it's this way, that way. Okay, because they are actually different. Like you can get when you look at the file, you'll see that there's these two little guys are like very similar, but they're actually a mirror of each other. But when you finally build it, you can actually get it like switched around, and it shouldn't matter that much. So that's good. Right now we got 5 more actually. I'm gonna tackle the power button. Whoopsies! The power button heat insert right now, just because it's kind of like in a funny situation, and then I have like 4 more to do for the power supply mounts. Well, that was a mistake. Okay, so maybe I'll just situate it in like so. And then press it in this way. You can see it on camera, not the top one, but the side ones at least. Get in there. Yeah, so this one will be utilizing the power button from the motherboard kit. And the kit we'll be using is the X300W. It's that really small STX motherboard, and it should be good. Tuesday was fun. Tuesday was fun. All right, so now we've got most of the heat inserts in now. We got 4 more to go. These are for the power supply. And based on what I've been experiencing with the other holes, I may have to approach all of these at an angle. I think that's going to be the case. But luckily we can kind of like situate it like this where it stays put. Actually, can I? Let's see. Oh, it actually fits in there. Cool. Alright, so let's get this pressed in. Alright, so that one's in. Let's move over to the next one. All right, last one. I guess if you slip right now, it shouldn't matter too much if you like end up melting something, because it is the inside of the case. So that's at least like some forgiving thought. All right, so that's done. Now, I guess I have to decide, do I want to glue in the vents or melt them in? Let's just melt them in. I'm trying to think now, do I need to take... Okay, I should just put them in right now. I haven't quite like thought out the order of operations for all of this. There's a lot of parts going in. But I have a general idea of what needs to be done in like a very vague order. So bear with me. All right, so now we've got the soldering iron still hot. And all I'm gonna do is just, it's gonna be hard to see, maybe if I angle it this way. All right, if you look at the top camera to the top right, I'm just going to touch the edge where the 2 parts kind of meet and just kind of like press them together slightly. So there's one. And essentially I'm just like moving the melted plastic where I want it. There's something like hitting here. I wonder what it is. It could just be tolerances. I mean, again, like I'm still trying to figure out the tolerances I need for this particular printer. And it looks like I need to give it a little bit more tolerance. Maybe I can go from this angle. I don't know if it'll be any better for viewing, but let's give it a try. Okay, so we've got a soldering iron. I'm just going to push the melted material onto each other. This bond won't be the strongest, but I don't think it really matters that much considering it's like a part that you're not supposed to be touching anyways. And again, if you want to be absolutely sure that it's not going to come out, you can like use epoxy or even like super glue. It should be good. But the top vent is now in. And if you notice for this particular like vent pattern, I'm using the honeycomb pattern. It looks pretty cool. And normally I'd use like just the normal grids, but for this one I used the honeycomb pattern because I did put in these like rounded corners, and it kind of plays better with them aesthetically. All right, so now we're going to put in the bottom vent. And let's see if you can see that. Yeah, I think my tolerances are definitely off. Like, I mean, from your end, it looks fine, but if I run my finger right over it, there's definitely like a little ledge. So that's a kind of a bummer, sort of. I mean, I could technically just like sand it, but no. That's I think I'm being way too nitpicky on this. Okay, so let's just go ahead and melt these guys together. There's one, and there's two. Push this down. 3. Yeah, so make sure that when you print this out, you have your printer dialed in. I'm sure I need to like futz around with the flow rates and whatnot because I haven't done that. I've been basically printing with the stock profiles that GD Tech puts in. Even for the this particular material, this is PETG with carbon fiber, and normally they actually suggest that you bump up your nozzle size to a 0.6 or higher, but I'm still using 0.4, and they also say to like somewhat slow down for it, but I'm using like the stock PETG settings, and it really goes. If you've seen some of my shorts, I have one video of this whole like table just like shaking, and that's just like normal from when it's being used. Okay, so I think I don't need the soldering iron anymore. I'm going to turn it off. I don't think I need it. I shouldn't need it. Okay. And unplug it and put it down over here so I don't burn myself. Sweet. All right, so I know that oh, I should put in the magnets. That's what I should do. Okay, so for the magnets, I will be placing them with some super glue, and I have like this little bottle of alcohol, and hopefully it'll kick it faster so that it acts as an accelerant for the super glue so that it basically cures faster. So let me go ahead and just put a little drop of super glue in each little hole. And some of these actually fit with just like friction, but I'm going to be using this super glue just for assurance. All right, so if you notice, when you buy these magnets, it always comes with like this like master magnet that's like pretty long. And what I do is I put a piece of tape on one, and so it basically reminds me of what orientation the magnets needs to be, especially when you're doing magnets that are magnet to magnet. Like you can't like put this in and then put it on the side panel the same way, because they should be like kind of opposite of each other. And so basically I'll do one side, and then I'll flip around this this little gauge I have so that the orientation is correct. But let me go ahead and pop this in, and that actually just went in pretty easily. Okay, I actually put too much, I think. Super glue. It's kind of everywhere. But not a big deal. Hold on, I need to push this one in a little bit. I think I released it too soon. It just pops right in. Cool. Wow, that one has a lot on it. That first one. Let me just move this here. But we'd love to hear what everyone's up to this weekend. Got any cool plans or anything? I have like a holiday party to go to. Semi excited for it. Semi. But it should be fun. I think I waited too long for that glue to dry. Or I waited too long and the glue's starting to dry. And it came in. Okay, cool. So those are in. I don't think I need to put the alcohol. Maybe I'll just do it because I've never actually done it. So let's just try it. Apparently it makes the super glue set way faster. Alright. I don't think the PETG will react with the alcohol. Hold on one second. I'm getting like a warning on my thing here. Oh, looks like my internet's like not keeping up. So if it's a little like blurry or whatever, I do apologize. But the show must go on. So I'm gonna put this aside and basically, again, we were placing the magnets with the tape side down. So what I'm going to do now is I'll be putting the magnets with the tape side up. Let me just double check. Yeah, okay. So then I'm going to switch sides and basically it aligns itself. And now I should be able to press these in and they should coincide with the magnet on the case. But I could just maybe try one. Yeah, let's try one really quick. It'll be just pressed in like that, and then hopefully it's right. Yeah. Oh, and it actually stuck pretty well. Let me get that off before the super glue reacts with it. Oh my god, it did. Oh jeez. Okay, we're good. Hey, if the stream is getting crazy bad, let me know. Maybe I can like futz with my router or something. Oh, now it's back to excellent. Okay, cool. So, just gonna put this to the side and go and drop in some super glue on each one. And we've got 6 on the panel and then 6 on the PC itself. All right, so then we're going to just press these in. So that one's in. And basically you just put it in the hole and you do like a sideways kind of movement to break it apart from the other magnets because it does want to stay together. Okay, cool. And then let me go ahead and just, yeah, let's just go ahead and drop in some of this alcohol. In one of my other previous builds, I used the case side panel too soon, and the magnets actually ripped right out. So we'll give these a little more time to dry, but I think you kind of get the gist of how it goes on. All right, put this over here for now. I'm just really glad I didn't have to use my drill. I have the drill nearby, and I'm happy that I don't have to use it. Okay. Cool. And now we begin putting this thing in. I know there's like an order that okay, so I think I want to do the power button first. So this is the power button that comes with the X300W. It's from ASRock. It's this like tiny little PC. And normally when you use it, it's just the motherboard, CPU, RAM, and storage. But there's no way to like add a video card in here, and it also has like a large power brick, like a laptop that you have to power it with. So it does look quite small, but in actuality, like the entire system is still fairly large. Okay, so well, large by like small form factor standards. Let's see. Is this an open source print? Yeah, so Max Blade, after this stream is done, I'm gonna go ahead and press publish on my printables and you should be able to print it out yourself. But again, just bear with me here because you like, as cool as this case is, it's really not going to be for everyone, because you'll find out why. Because so far it's been pretty standard in terms of putting it together. But eventually, soon you'll see why it's kind of like I was actually semi-reluctant to even release it, because there are some dangers with this case. Okay, so now I printed out this power button, and the way it's designed, it's supposed to fit into this slot, and then when I screw in this power switch, it'll actually kind of like hold the button in place, and then it basically actuates the little button that's built into the X300W kit. So this button goes in, and I put a little flange on it so that if you notice, it's like not coming out even though it's in, because there is something that essentially stops it from coming out one way. And then for it to stay fully in place though, we do need to screw in the power switch, which I have in my hand right now. And let's see, I know I set out some stuff for it. So let's go ahead and get this in. Actually, can I even get to it is the other question. I should be able to though, but I do remember I wanted this in as soon as possible so that I don't have to deal with it later. But once the motherboard is in, this might be a little harder. Oh, I guess this is not magnetized enough. Let me steal a magnet from my pile. Wow, that's still amazing. Oh, thank you, Max. Like aesthetically, it's really cool. Like I'm super proud of it. Like the fact that I was able to do what I'll show you. Pretty stoked. Stoked to also be alive. Wow, that is... Okay, so it's just not a magnetic... No, it is. That's so weird. It's not wanting to stick to my screwdriver. Anyway. Let's just start this off instead of wasting everyone's time watching me fumble with this. Alright, so I think that's good. I'm just going to put it a little tighter. You know, in hindsight, I should have added like some guides so that it doesn't rotate. But yeah, so that's like the button. You can hear it there. And in these two holes, there's going to be LEDs. And you'll see it when I turn it on. Hopefully it turns on. I did try it a bunch of times outside the case. If you're in my Patreon, you would have seen all the testing that I've been doing with this and all the dangers associated with it. But now is like the time for the public to see it. So here it is. Okay, so we got the power button in, and I believe I now need to install the power supply. So this is where the build gets like super funky. Because I wanted to get rid of the power brick that powers this thing, I've been researching for like a few years now on how to do it, and thankfully the people over at smallformfactor.net, they've been doing a lot of actual like research and testing, and so it did make my life a little easier knowing that like it's possible. But I'll tell you right now, the documentation to make this happen is little to none, and in all honesty, I think it's going to stay that way. So you won't get a direct kind of tutorial from me, because you'll see why. Okay, so Metal Dragon, happy Friday 13th. Yeah, man, it's a funny day to be streaming or doing anything. I think I know it's like pure superstition, but whenever I see Friday the 13th, you still kind of get those feelings. But yeah, okay, so I'm going to now install this is the power plug that goes into the power supply. And I think you'll start to see why this gets really dangerous. So basically, what you're seeing right now, like the wires that are here are actually just like directly from the wall of your like power outlet. And so like so I'm in the US, and so I believe we got like 115, 120 volt coming out of our outlets at whatever amperage it is, but like it's enough to kill people, obviously. And what's sketchy about this is that we are essentially making like our own wiring from your power outlet to make this work. And I did this backwards. Of course I did. No, is it stuck? No. So I'm a little like, just like careful with it because it is pretty important. So I don't want to like bend it too much because the I don't want to stress out the part and risk basically like causing a fire or whatever. Okay, so I do have these little tiny screws that are going to be connected to this, and so I won't do like a full-on tutorial on how to do it, but as a consolation, I will still provide like a shopping list of what you need to have to make this happen. And really it's like, it's not that crazy. Like you can just buy stuff off of like DigiKey. What is just the scary part is really like dealing with the wiring. So when I got this, I've had this thing for a while. It's just been sitting on the shelf. But basically you do have to create your own wires for it. And that's where I don't really think I should hold like a full-on tutorial, because I really don't want to be responsible if something bad were to happen, because again, like one stray hand or one stray like screwdriver and you are in of a lot of hurt. So just be careful if you do try to attempt this. And I mean, I think it has to be said, like if you don't have like a digital multimeter or know how to use one, I do not do this, because again, you are dealing with voltages straight out of your wall and you could seriously injure yourself and damage a lot of property. So yeah, just be careful if you're going to try to attempt this now. And so again, I'm not going to do a full-on tutorial. However, like there's manuals for this thing, and it looked like for some reason like I could have just used this with just the ground and the live wire. But then there's like a little like small piece of text in the documentation where it says like, if you want this to be qualified as like a class like B or C or I don't know what it was, but like it needed to be grounded. And so, so I had to like figure that out. And so what I'm doing is essentially I have a ground coming from the wall, and this particular ground is going to be screwed in to the bottom of the power supply so that it gets a ground. I mean, not that it really needs it, to be honest. I think one of the things that held me up was deciding which power plug I wanted to go with. Originally, I was going to just go with like a 2-prong power plug to make it really small, but I did get a little worried about the grounding, and so I think this is what's going to happen. I mean, even when I think the original power adapter, where is it? I think it's only 2-prong. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. No, I'm wrong. Wait. Yes, I'm wrong. So it is grounded. So I think that's what made me decide to actually ground this thing, because it was grounded to begin with. So I think it's better to be safe than sorry. So I'm going to now take the power supply and screw it in. And again, it's even dangerous just holding it like this, because this was on, I want to say like 4 hours ago. I did try to deplete it by like unplugging in and pressing the button and whatnot, but like this could very well still be holding enough like amps and voltage inside its caps or the other electronics to like kill you. So again, be very careful. Let's see, use a cable to connect the ground cable with the standoffs from motherboard. For sure, yeah. So Shadow, I'll be using, there's like a little, it's hard to see. Oh, you can kind of see it, but there is a cable with a little loop that I have, and it's going to be attached to one of the standoffs on there. So that grounds the power supply. I'm not really concerned about the rest, because the power supply itself has leads that have ground on them. So I think once this is grounded, the rest should be grounded too. So I think that should cover it. But let me go ahead and install this. This is actually the first time I've even put it into this particular case. And so bear with me if I'm like doing a lot of fumbling. All right, so let's see. So now I'm going to just situate it there. Okay, I think I'll put it like that. Okay, let's put this to the side. Okay, so I'm pretty happy though, because one thing I wasn't completely sure with was if this particular small length of cable needs to be in there. Shad, you have a tester for security? Yeah, I do have a tester, Shadow, and like I haven't had any issues with the grounding in terms of like the motherboard. But I mean, I was even testing it today to make sure that like it at least turned on, and it was just on the table. It works. I think, I mean, obviously I think maybe it might be situational. So like depending on how like the grid is for your country or your house, maybe it is probably better to be safe than sorry. But I think having just one ground alone, I'm already kind of satisfied with that in terms of safety. But yeah, I may be wrong, but it's happening. All right, so I'm gonna put in the first screw. So this screw, actually let's just put it in the original spot. This first screw is gonna be attaching the, man, this is kind of really funky to deal with. My other plan was to actually just create like an enclosure for it altogether, but I kind of shelved that because the case is actually like a lot bigger than I really want it to be. I thought I could like hit like close to like 2 liters. I'm still below 3 liters, but it's just a bummer that like the components just kind of took up a lot of space. And I mean, rightly so too. Man, I am really struggling with this. See, this is like what you don't see whenever I did post videos. Is like the hours of me fiddling like a goober, not doing this correctly. Okay. One last time, hopefully. Oh! Man, I am struggling here. I did use some pretty thick wires just to be safe, and so that might be also contributing to my struggles right now because they are kind of thick wires. Thick boy wires. Okay, let's just see if I can do this. Okay. All right, got one screw in, and that screw that was important. But Shadow, have you used some of these power supplies before? Because I have had like previous projects like for like LEDs. I think like this particular power supply is popular for LEDs. And to be honest, I don't think I ever grounded any of them because I guess I just kind of like went off of tutorials that I saw online that were just like, hey, just like plug it in. And then, but then like, you know, I was trying to be super cautious with this particular one. And obviously when I read the data sheet and the, hold on, is this the right screw? Why is this so weird? Anyways, I was reading the data sheet and it did mention like really in small text that like if you want to classify as like a class, actually let me just grab the data sheet for you now. Okay, so I even printed it out. Like I normally don't print anything out, but I was so sketched out. But yeah, so imagine like this whole dock. Oh, it's really hard to see with my exposure settings, but there's no way to see it. But essentially like you got all this text here and then you got the smallest font that says like a class 1 system needs like 1 and 3 positions must be connected to Earth. And if it's a class 2, same thing. So like, yeah, like I don't know why it's so small. Like they should just kind of like be like, hey, ground this thing. But again, I mean, I haven't had any issues, so knocking on wood. Let's see. You can see if the main capacitor is charged if the volt is less than 50 volts. Just use a screwdriver to short circuit. If more is pretty easy. Yeah, I don't even know how to check that, to be honest. Like, so you're saying to just use your screwdriver to short the capacitor? I don't know, man. I don't. I'm not skilled enough for that. I've just been trying to be careful by not like touching everything. But yeah, I would need to look that up because I don't know how that. I'm a technician. The problem with PSUs are a rated amp are not the best. Yeah. So like I guess like, I mean it's hard to see on camera here, but so this is the main capacitor here. I almost touch it with a metal screw. I don't like. Would I need to go underneath the PCB to like short it? Is that what you're saying? That's really, I mean, I guess like once this is in, I'm kind of like, that ain't happening anymore. I've never shorted out a, I just lost a screw. A power supply. I know how dangerous they are. Like I've opened up a few, but I've just been like super cautious. But I know it's probably not enough. Like I'm sure if like in your situation, like if like OSHA came for like workplace safety, they'd probably be like appalled by what I'm doing right now. But I'm not a pro. I'm just a dude with a 3D printer working with electronics that are really dangerous. All right, so let me see. So I'm just kind of making sure these are tight enough. I'm just being really slow too because it is a power supply that's kind of like open and exposed. And then once I actually power this thing, like I really don't want to be fiddling with it too much. But with the power supply in, I'm now going to connect the cable that connects it to the plug. So technically, if I did plug this in, it would start powering it. There's no, like I was looking for a plug that had like a switch so I can turn it off from there, but I didn't really find any that were like small enough. Because if you did have a like they call this like a Mickey Mouse plug because it looks like Mickey Mouse. But if you had one with a switch on it, it became like 3 times the size for some reason. So what I did instead was kind of janky, but I basically just like took like 2 power cords and to like turn it off without unplugging it from the wall, I just kind of like unplug or just like separate them. It is a little janky right now, but I mean, you don't have to. I'll send a link to the one I really wanted, but just didn't do it because I guess I was testing it. But that should be good for the power supply. And I believe I wanted the motherboard in. I think it is. Okay. Yeah, let's do it. So this is the motherboard we're using. It's the form factor is STX. It's like smaller than ITX and it's neat. So basically it's got like all the ports on the back and some ports in the front. And I've already installed my NVMe drive, my RAM, and my CPU. I'm using a 5700G in here, so obviously it's funny because that has like a built-in graphics card already. But what I wanted to do for this one was to play around with adding a graphics card to the system, and I'll show you how that's done in a bit. Shadow says, I hate that connector. Yeah, the Mickey Mouse, you know, I rarely see it, right? Like, it's such a rare plug to see, I think. And I was really tempted just to use the 2-prong. I would have had like a really smaller cable, but we went with this one. So now I'm putting in the motherboard, and it looks like it fits, so that's good. Let me go ahead and screw it in. All right, let's see, is this, oh, this one actually stayed in as far as being magnetic. Okay, so that's in one corner. And I'll do the opposing corner. But it's coming together. Yeah, you're kind of experiencing this the same way I am, because again, this is like straight out of the printer, and I haven't even like done any dry fits or anything because I really couldn't, because a lot of the supports were in the way. But obviously the 4 mounts are in. But what's even more fun is that the cutouts I have for the IO look like they more or less work. This is still an ongoing thing for me. So if you look at my other prints that utilize the system, some of them don't even have, like, I just put out like a big hole because they just didn't work very well for some prints. Like, I would reprint something and it would like be totally different from the last. Like, it's really dependent on like how precise and how you can replicate the print over and over. But it was always off by like a tiny bit, and so I never really felt comfortable like sharing it out. But you know what? I think I'll just share this out, because worst comes to worst, like you can just take like a little knife to it. Like I'm looking at it right now. I do notice actually that there is a little bit of droop that happened for the headphone jack, and so that's a bummer. But again, I think I just need to like stop worrying about it not being perfect and just like share it with y'all, because I think people would like that. Spiggy, what's up, man? Yeah, just a Friday afternoon build, right? Like, you know, best way to start the weekend is to get something fun and accomplished out of the way. But so FD says, Shadow is the new STX for AM5. So there is, I believe there is an STX for AM5 now. I just don't have it. Like I don't have anything AM5. I'm still stuck on AM4, and still happy there too. And then now I'm going to plug in the power switch and LEDs. It'll just go there. I'll just kind of finagle with that later. Okay, so now what I wanted to do was it power cables? No, I can't remember. There is a fan actually. So this particular power supply is rated on 2 levels. Like, one is what do you call it? One is like for no fan, passive cooled, and the other one is with a fan. And I believe it's almost like a good 100-watt difference between the two. So I think it's optional, because I mistakenly ran this thing, like I was running like Prime 95 and superposition for like a few hours, and I didn't realize I didn't have the fan there, and I didn't see any issues. But again, I'm in my garage, and so it is a lot colder in here. So I think in the summer, like, you definitely want to put a fan on this thing. Okay. So yeah, so Spiggy Tech says, oh, so it is out. Wow, it's $100 more. I mean, I guess it is a newer system. I mean, maybe when it gets on sale, I'll pick it up, because even this thing, I didn't really pick it up right away until it was like, I think there was a Black Friday sale on it. I think it was like $100-something. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty sweet. It's like a case and a motherboard, so I went with it. But maybe when the new one goes down in price, I'll definitely hit it up. But if you don't know us, Spiggy Tech, we talk privately, like on chat, and so he's a cool dude. Well, I'm assuming he's a dude. I don't know, but you know, it's been really fun talking with Spiggy. Yeah. So, and also to that point, if you want to like hit me up, I think the best place to hit me up would be like Instagram or Reddit. I try to answer what I can, but yeah. So that's one thing I want y'all to know. All right. So now. I think so. I have to install the GPU, but I'm just trying to remember what the order of operations is. And I think I want to install these brackets first. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so this particular bracket goes on like so. Oh, I have a really long screw for this. Yeah, we cool, bro. And if you haven't, Spiggy Tech, I believe, also has a YouTube channel. But I think he shares most of his work on Reddit. And so if you want to check out like other like pretty sick 3D printed cases, don't sleep on Spiggy Tech, because he has produced some pretty cool stuff. Definitely got some inspiration from some of his builds, because yeah, it's just it's really cool seeing other people make new cases. Okay, so now I'm just putting this in. There's just a screw that holds the PCI riser in place. And I have it pretty tight now. I just hope that the screw that I use isn't too long. Oh wow, I think it might be. Oh no, it looks like it's fine. Okay, and just to explain, the PCI Express riser I'm using, so it goes from this 16x PCI slot all the way down to NVMe. And so what's cool about this particular motherboard, it has 2 NVMe slots, and so obviously I lose one for potential storage, but what I gain from it is the ability to use a dedicated graphics card, and so I no longer am limited to the built-in GPU for the APU of AMD. I can now, like, again, I'm going to be putting in an RTX A2000 in here, and but basically any low-profile video card should technically work for this case. And so if you, this might be hard to see on camera here, but let me just move this out of the way and put some white background here. But if you take a look, the slot here is fairly long, and so that's to accommodate like longer cards. Like for instance, this card here doesn't need any power from the power supply, but I know that, like for instance, if you want to roll with like the RTX 4060 low profile, it does have a power cable on it, and so I did make it so that it should be able to move forward and back to accommodate for that. And well, that's in theory. So if you ever try it and it works, let me know. And if it doesn't work, then let me know too. Okay, so we've got the bracket in now. And now I have to install the actual GPU into the riser. Okay, and then I can situate it inside now. And this is the first time I've done this, and I just realized that like the power cable I have here is kind of in the way. I know it'll work, but it's kind of in the way. Okay, so it's in now. Hold on, I think I caught that on camera, but whoopsies. So I'll put the top down. But now we have essentially all the parts in now. Well, most of it, but you'll see that the video card is going to be held in place by 2 screws on the PCI riser. And then it's also going to be, hold on one second, is this the right screw? And then it's also going to be held in place by this, this little bracket that I made for the back. But let me see what I'm doing here. Oh, I think maybe I can use like a normal screw for that. Give me one second. I brought out the wrong screw. But luckily I have these screws ready to go from the previous teardown. I don't know if you caught that one, but I got like a Black Friday case that I tore down, and now we're going to be using the screws from it. And I think this should be shorter than what I have. Okay, cool. All right. Sorry for that. And now we just screw it in. There's one. I just did like a kind of loose fit. Just want to show you basically the range that it can accommodate. So theoretically, like you could like move this video card. Ever think about using an L riser over cable? So an L riser Is it kind of similar to the one I had inside the steam machine? Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, okay. So I think okay, yeah. So basically, like a normal riser can't work because again, like you brought it up. Basically, like it has to be M2, and so yeah, we're just kind of stuck with that. Okay, so now I am going to be installing the actual NVMe cable now, and I have a screw ready to roll. I just hope it's magnetic, because if I lose this, this will be kind of far from fun. Why aren't these working with my magnet trick? I'm kind of bummed. Okay. All right. So what's funky about this is that they have it so that the video card is like almost backwards if you kind of just like let it rest. So I do have to make this like kind of weird twist. So normally like in its resting place, it's kind of this like straight shot here. But for me to get this connector over to where it needs to be, like I have to kind of give it a little twist. But I don't think it should compromise the integrity of the cable, because there are like pretty robust supports on both ends, and those parts shouldn't be torqued. But again, I think whenever you're dealing with these kind of things, like no matter what, like any bending is not good, and so we are definitely like making a compromise to make this happen. But I think it's a compromise worthwhile. Wow, I did not imagine how hard this would be to put in. Okay, it's in. Wow, I didn't anticipate that. I thought it'd be like a lot easier. I mean, I guess it was pretty quick. What am I saying? All right, so now I'm gonna screw in the tiny little M2 bolt. A little hard to see, but if you've done one of these like for a hard drive, like they're all kind of the same, so I'm not concerned about you missing out on too much of the fun on camera. All right, so I think that it's good there. And let me just bring this in closer. Okay, and then now, like I was saying, we can like help capture the video card more by like placing it here. So I guess there is like a limit to how far it can go out, but that limit is pretty far. So now I'm just going to be installing it. And what you can do is kind of like torque this bracket so that it like kind of angles so that it supports the video card more, or you just put it down. Yeah, I think no matter what, it'll work. Okay, so there's that. And I really should have put the power plug in. Oh my god, hold on, I think I screwed up big time. I don't know if I can put this power plug in. Oh Jesus. Wait, I think I screwed up. So this thing needed to be in the moment I put in the motherboard. My god. Okay, how can we do this without taking it all the way out? I think I can just loosen up the screw. Man, that's a blunder. So don't do what I just did. All right, let's see. I think, can we get away with leaving it in here, but then also putting in the power plug? Ooh, that's a goof. And before this, I wanted I actually was going to solder the actual power connector on there, like underneath, but I just decided to go with this plug, because originally I thought, oh man, this thing's gonna stick out and like ruin the size of this thing, but basically if you take a look, like it didn't matter how flush I could have gotten it, because no matter what, like the depth of the case has been determined by this particular video card. You know, it is low profile, but it's still like 175 millimeters, I think, and basically it's like longer than this entire motherboard. And so I thought I could get it really small, and I didn't really like. I just totally forgot, like, even though it's a small card, it still kind of takes up a lot of space. Let's see. As long as it's not compressed down so the copper can't be snapped. Yeah, for sure. That's for the connector. And oh yeah, the tiny PC problems. Like, yeah, it's always like funky with the order of operations. But I think we can get this. Probably wrong. Man, I goofed. Okay, let's see. That's always the case though. Like you don't see it in my videos, but sometimes like I had to take like 5 takes just to like get something in properly, because it's just sometimes so hard to understand where everything's going. Like normally if you were to watch this on video, you probably just see me go like, yeah, and then just like put your hand like this and then you're done. But nope, you're seeing all the hurt. Wait a minute. No, I did screw up. I think the power plug is bigger than what I anticipated. I swore I measured it. No way. Well, I mean, I think it'll still work, but there's definitely like tension on it now. I don't think I gave enough room for the power plug. Well, thanks for joining me today. No, I'm kidding. I think we can still make this happen, but wow, I totally goofed. Really? The power plug is that big? Oh, that's such a bummer. Oh, it's at an angle, that's why. Man. I do have my drill with me, so maybe we can just drill it out. But that's like a real bummer. Okay, so I have to change the CAD to accommodate for that then. That's such a bummer. It's so big. Should I force it? Oh, it's kind of stuck in there. All right, team. Yeah, I definitely do to revisit that. I may just in the future, actually, I have to change the CAD before I upload it, but what I'll do is I'll just cut out this entire area, just to accommodate for these weird plugs. Like, it's so weird that, hold on, where is the other plug? Maybe I measured the wrong one. So this is the stock cable, but maybe I think I just screwed up with my measurements altogether. Hold on, I kind of want to see now. Did I just? No, I think I just screwed up. Wow. Yeah. Wait. No, I screwed up. Okay, so I did screw up. Man, that's kind of a bummer. Got this, buddy. Work the problem before the problem works you. That's a good saying. All right, I guess what's everyone's take? Should I just drill into this thing? We can do it. I want to see the votes. Grab a lighter and a flathead. Yeah. I mean, oh, man, I can't believe I screwed that up so bad. I mean, it wouldn't be too much to make this happen, I think. Yeah, to Spiggy's point, like we could just melt what we need out. The soldering iron doesn't take that long to heat up. What does everyone think? It's the rear IO, you want to see it. And it's not even an IO, Spiggy, actually. Like, you can see the gap here. There's no, like, I'm not going to be putting in the plate for it, so maybe we will just kind of raw dog this and just do it live. Yeah, let's do it. Let's cause some problems. Okay, actually, I want to not damage this too much. Give me a second here. I'm looking for like something to lay the case on. Will this work? Ish. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, so here's the plan. I think I'm going to take my soldering iron and literally notch out this portion over here. It's not ideal, but we got to do what we got to do after the blunder that this particular person just made. Gonna have to have a word with the person who designed this thing. Okay, so yeah, it's not that much. Let's do it. Where is the soldering iron? Obviously this is like a do as I say, not what I do kind of situation, because this is not what you're supposed to be doing. Or if someone wants to say do not do it, like say that too. But right now I'm going to be taking like the blunt, it's like a blunt soldering iron tip. And my plan is just like to melt this off. Let's see if it works. And what's nice about this soldering iron is like really easy to kind of take apart. And these are the tips here are like specific just for heat inserts actually. And I had those linked in a lot of my videos, so if you're interested in getting one, it should be there. Sculpting, yeah. Sculpting. It's not even. Oh man. All right. Man, this is like not ideal, but this is like, you know, you're seeing it live. Like normally I hide all these mistakes. Like I talk about them, but I never really like actually show you what's happening on my other videos. Okay, so we're gonna heat it up to like 300 degrees again, and hopefully this works out. Again, don't do this because like you are going to be creating like plastic fumes, which is not good for anyone. Matter of fact, I might actually grab my fume extractor. Give me like 30 seconds if I could even find it. I do see it. I just hope it's not too loud. So what I'll do is I'll turn it on and let y'all be the judge of like how loud it is, and should I just forget this little adventure. What I'll do is I'll maybe point it this way so that it's not directly in front of the microphone. Okay, so I'm going to turn it on and let me know how loud it is. Is it too loud? Let me know and I can turn it off. I don't see any responses, so I'm assuming, well, I'll probably have to wait a little longer for the lag. Alright, it's happening then, if no one's going to say anything. Alright, so it looks like I have to go all the way up to the S to make this happen. Alright, let's try this out. Whoa, what happened here? You got turned down. Okay, hold on, I have to wait a little longer. But if you do any soldering or like melting stuff, like it's always good. Wait a minute, my soldering iron just died. What's going on here? It's being so weird. 218, I want 300. Yeah, if you do any soldering or like, or modifying your prints, make sure that you've got like a fume extractor. It's being so weird. Did I break this? But how could I have broken it? It's jumping around so much. Alright, anyway, so this should be hot enough. I'm surprised you haven't gone to the pencil. What's the pencil? Is that like a different type of soldering iron? I don't think I've ever heard of that. Or maybe it's like a fume extractor? Anyways, we're doing this. Okay. Oh, mini iron. Oh. No, I don't. Yeah, let me know. Or even maybe share it right now on the chat. Maybe it might be worth it for other people who are watching. Anyways, let's start cutting into this thing. Oh, Jesus. This is really not ideal. Alright, melting. This is like 5 millimeters that I have to go through. So now we have like 2 blunders to this file. The first one was not including the Wi-Fi antenna mounts, but that's already been changed in the file, and it's like ready to go on printables like after the stream. But this situation with the power connector, you know, I think I had a different power connector that I had like a CAD file from like DigiKey, and there's my dumb self like relying on online data. I was actually kind of rushing this build, and it's definitely showing. Even though it still looks pretty sick though, so I'm not like so bummed of all the little mishaps we're having. Let's see. Solid product, very small, runs off USB-C. Oh wow, that is pretty convenient. Yeah, I'll look into that, Spiggy. Yeah, I think that's my issue. Is I totally thought that like I must have done like a really quick measurement with my ruler, and then like found out that like, oh, like the online one is very close to it, and I didn't even realize that even if you look at this connector, like it's not a pure 90 degree. There's like a slight angle to it, so that's probably not helping at all. And then let me just grab this junk off. But I think we got the hole that we wanted. You could even see the power connector now, but let me just go ahead and clean up some of it. What a way to spend a Friday, just plastic fumes, failed prints. It's all fun. But Spicky, do you do a lot of soldering yourself? It's funny, like this particular iron that I'm holding right now, like I don't think I've ever actually soldered actual like wires with it. It's only been for like heat inserts and what you're seeing now. Okay, actually before I turn this off, let's go ahead and dry fit this darn connector that's been the bane of this stream. Boom! Man, that was a fail. You do, oh, board repairs. The barrel socket on my SCX is canted too. Oh, really? Let me see the original. Where did I put that thing? This one looks like it's like pretty straight though. This is the original. And then, but look at how big this power adapter is. It's like, it's almost as long as the actual case. So it's funny to like, you know, to say that the X300W kit is like tiny. It is, but like, it's definitely like deceptive in that you do have to run like this large brick to make it happen. And I think some people even get a bigger brick than this because this is like, I think only 140 watts, I want to say. 120, and so if you have a higher wattage power supply, it actually will allow the PC to go faster. But yeah, if you look at these two connectors, I mean it's very slight, but there's definitely like an angle to this this new one that I got. So that's a bummer. But again, let's look at a lesson learned of what not to do. Always measure your own stuff first. Oh, the board side. Oh, so you mean like is it broken or is it like whatchamacallit? Is it just what was I saying? Or was it just soldered in wrong? Alright, so let me go ahead and clean this off. You don't want to leave it on for too long with the melted plastic, because then it may not come off or it just ends up like stinking forever. This is coming off pretty easily though, so I'm happy about that. And again, if you 3D print brass wire brush, it's so useful. I even like kind of rub the print bed before each print. I mean, I'm sure it doesn't do much, but it is just kind of like a peace of mind thing, knowing that like you do have a very hard material that's kind of like aggressively scratching the print bed. I'm gonna turn this off now. I think we're good. But you know, I will keep this nearby because I'm sure there's something else I missed. Okay, I'm gonna turn this off now. And was that really loud for everyone? We gotta get you a cleaning pot. Oh, so it actually is on the manufacturing of your board has like a slanted connector. Man, that's a bummer. I mean, I guess maybe on their end it didn't really matter, right? Because like the connector will do whatever it wants to do anyways, but that still kind of sucks that passed QA. But to your point though, I mean, it really is like a pretty cheap product, quote unquote, but it doesn't excuse them. Okay, so now that we got that done, let's move on and hopefully we don't encounter more issues, but you know, you never know. Like with my builds that I share with everyone, they're essentially like 3D sketches, right? Like there's a reason why I don't really charge for them is because I just don't feel like they're worthy of charging people for. Let's see. Noise was fine. We'll cut it out in post. Okay, cool. I'm glad that you guys were able to hear me okay. Spicky, you said we got to get you a cleaning pot. What do you mean by cleaning pot? Like, is that like a little copper thing that you kind of like stab with the soldering iron? Because I think I do have one, but I don't want to use it with melted plastic though. Throw that. I'm in the garage, so I can kind of make a mess. Bloop. All right. Where was I? Okay, so now we've got. Oh, I was putting in the power connectors. That's what I was doing. Where are you? Okay. So I should have cut this already, actually. Like, this particular plug that goes into the PCI riser is, like, definitely custom, and I cut it to length where I wanted it to, but I was more apprehensive with this final one. But I really should have just cut it because it's like I had to deal with all these ones, all this length now. And then again, talking about not giving like a hard tutorial on this, like you are going to need to make your own wiring, and like if you can't read like a wiring diagram, like let's just, I don't know if I would suggest even trying this because again, like you are dealing with live current from the wall, and so if you do anything wrong, it's going to be very dangerous. But now I'm going to move this up so you can see it on the top camera. But I think the only thing I have left to do now is put in the power cables, and we're done actually. So I'm going to put in the power cable for the PCI riser. It's just a 12 volt. And then I'm going to put in the main connector here. If I can find it, if I can find the hole. Okay, so that's in. And now I have to somehow stuff all of this cable in here. But the good thing is we can now fit the power plug. Look at that. My goodness. That's a blunder. Okay, so now let me go ahead and try to snake this in here, but you know what I should actually check? I'm not sure. This might actually interfere with the side panel. Let's see. I can't know if I can get that any flatter, but let me go ahead and just at least fold these over a little bit so that they can kind of live inside here. Yeah, I should have just cut these. I guess I was also a little apprehensive cutting them because like I thought that maybe I could utilize this power supply in different ways, because if you remember my my AMD Quantum prototype replica, like it would have been cool to like move the power supply like somewhere else if I ever decide to redo that build. And I think honestly after learning more about the STX and the ability to use like a riser cable to make it happen, like I think I may have to revisit that Quantum again and make it like bigger, and that way we can get more cooling into it, and also like put in an actual like dedicated GPU to get some real gaming in it. Okay, so the cable is not perfect. Luckily, I won't be using any of the ports back there besides like maybe one of them. Maybe I'll just put in them right now. So again, normally you'd want to use a LAN or a Wi-Fi connection on here, because the kit does come with Wi-Fi. But again, that Wi-Fi cable is currently inside this red PC, and so I didn't want to take it apart just for this. And I do have like a little USB dongle that handles Wi-Fi anyways, and it works just fine. Okay, so the cable management's not the best. Now the question is, will the case even close? I'm really worried about this getting in the way. But let's see if I turn it towards the camera. Okay, so here's the case, and there's the dangerous power supply. Let's see. You said get a dedicated plastic one. So okay, so it is what I was talking about. It is that little like bowl that holds like the copper wire, and you kind of like stab your soldering iron in to clean it off. But you're right. Maybe I should. I mean, maybe I do get one for just plastic. I'll look into it. But that's a good idea. You are being judged on your wire management skills. Yeah, I mean, it's not the best, but it's getting it done. All right, so let's see if this actually closes. I don't think it will, because oh, never mind, I'm wrong. But yeah, so there it is. You know, it only took destroying the rear to make this happen, but it's kind of done. That was it. Now you've got this like tiny little PC, but it won't be the best gaming system because it is still like an RTX 8000. But I mean, I played like some Cyberpunk at like 1080 on this thing. So this is honestly, I'm super stoked on this. Look at this thing. Yeah, like I know like many people are making smaller PCs nowadays, but I'm just really stoked on this because I thought it was pretty dangerous making it happen, and you know, when you like conquer the danger, it's always way more fun. Oh, I'm just getting rid of these burrs, but I actually did forget something. Okay, man, look at this mess here. Okay, so I forgot to put in the fan. So the fan has like a little ridge it can sit in, and I think my original plan was just like hot glue it in. I didn't want to put a mount down there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this adhesive tape, and it should be enough if I can get it to lay. All right. Yeah, this should be enough. This stuff is pretty strong, and I mean, again, like there is already a slot for it. Let me see if I can move the case a little. Okay, so it's going to live down here. You might be asking like, oh, where is it going to draw air from? And again, there is like a grill in this general area, so it has access to some air. But I mean to that point though, like it's not ideal. But when you look at, for instance, like Northbridge or chipset heat sinks from for motherboards, like they're just drawing air from like wherever it can, kind of thing. And so it's kind of the same, I guess, idea. Not ideal. I mean, I just didn't I didn't want to put a fan hole in the front. It's really like it was the aesthetics that was driving it. But I mean, it still closes. Oh, also, if you're asking, there is a little notch that I put over here so that you can kind of get like a nail underneath to take it off, but it just goes on. Man, that's pretty cool. I'm really happy with this case, to be honest. This is so cool. But let's turn on. One thing you'll notice, like going again to the dangers of this particular build, because of the way the power works on this thing, it, for some reason, just for the RTX A2000, the moment I plug it in, the video card turns on. Like, but it only does it for this particular card, because I've tried it with like a GTX 750. I tried it with an RTX 3050, and none of them do that behavior of like turning on when I plug it in, except for the RTX. I don't know what it is. I'm wondering like if maybe it because it is like a server grade like GPU. I wonder if there's like some special like electrical thing that they put on so that it kind of can work without like signals from the motherboard, or I'm just doing it wrong. I mean, I don't think there's anything I've missed in terms of like the wiring, but it definitely kind of freaks me out. I'll show you right now. Actually, I'm going to turn it on. I just want to show you the PC working. Well, hopefully it's working. Okay, yeah, that's a pretty satisfying little snap-on case, though. Let's see. What about Apex? Yeah, it looks really clean. I mean, let's see. Yeah, healthy snap. I mean, yeah, I definitely can play a lot of games. This is, honestly, I'm really stoked on this. And I designed it so that it can work both like in like a horizontal format, kind of like this, or, you know, obviously you've been seeing it stood up on its side, but I did want to give people that option in case they wanted to try to tackle this unique yet dangerous build. But yeah, I mean, yeah, thanks Spiggy and John. Like I really do also think it looks super clean. I'm like super stoked on this, and yeah, this is so fun. Let's see, play Apex. Definitely will play Apex, I think. I mean, Apex runs on like a Nintendo Switch, so it should be good. Let's see. Future design, look at 12-volt turbo fans. You can directly airflow at 90 degrees. Yeah. Wait, what do you mean? Oh, turbo fan. Actually, Spiggy, I don't want to spoil it too much, but one of the cases coming up, it doesn't use like, I guess maybe a turbo fan like you're thinking, but it definitely is a squirrel cage. And so I do have like a future project coming up that'll utilize like a squirrel cage fan. I mean, it's very similar. I forgot the name of the case, but there was one recently that was reviewed, and it reviewed really well, where it just uses like a non-axial fan, like it's like a squirrel cage. And so definitely looking forward to trying that out. But I'm yapping a lot. Let's turn this on so that we can get going, because y'all have been with me for a while, and I do appreciate that. But I hope you had some fun while you're here. And why do I have 2 extra screws there? Oh no, because I used different screws. Okay. All right. So again, we're gonna see this thing. It does have some weird behavior where, again, it just turns on for some reason, like the GPU. But yeah, to your point, Spiggy, it could really just be that the RTX A5000 just kind of has like a mode where it will kind of always be on the ready. So let's see. All right, so which side should you guys all look at? I guess this side's more uniform. This one has like a funky little bevel, but I'm really liking this this grill pattern. Spiggy, have you ever used, or anyone else here, have you ever used the honeycomb pattern? It's pretty clean. Like, I'm really like it. I almost dropped it. I really like it. Because it looks like circles versus like square holes, which is good, but also like I think the circles works really well with this particular case. All right, so let me see what I'm doing. Okay, so what's funky about this too, the RTX A2000, because it is like a server type GPU, they put in micro or the smaller versions of DisplayPort, and I hate it because then, so I do have a cable that goes from small DisplayPort to like the normal DisplayPort, but the monitor I'm using right now obviously doesn't have DisplayPort on it. It has like micro HDMI or USB-C, but I don't have a small DisplayPort all the way to USB-C or micro HDMI. So, but I do have like this super janky conversions where I have like this this one adapter that allows me to run that allows me to turn the connection into a normal DisplayPort. So it's like one solved problem, and then I have like this DisplayPort to HDMI, which goes into here. So we're already like 2 adapters in, but then I don't need to use it this way, but I do have this cable that goes from HDMI to USB-C, and it also has like a USB cable here just for providing power, because basically the USB-C is going to both bring data for the image on the monitor along with powering the monitor all together. And so this kind of achieves that, but it does kind of make it a little janky. But I guess that's the theme of this particular build today. Let me just actually relocate one of the dongles I put in here. Maybe I don't even need this. This is the Wi-Fi. I'm not going to connect it to the internet. No, I don't think I will. We don't need that. Okay, so I'm going to just plug in this thing. So this cable here will power the monitor, and then the HDMI obviously will carry the video signal. Okay. It works a lot cleaner with like normal video cards. Like I was going to use the RTX 3050 that I have in the red PC, but I don't want to take that apart yet because it's not done filming. But it is way cleaner than that, because basically you just plug in the USB and then the HDMI inside the video card, and it just goes right into the USB-C. So you have like one cable just to go to this particular monitor. All right, so I have mouse and keyboard. This is a little old school Lenovo with like a little touch pad here, and then yeah, so you can basically like use this as the mouse, and then you have a little keyboard. I used to actually hook it up to my TV, but for some reason my Samsung doesn't read some of the letters, so it's just odd. All right, let's continue with the sketchiness of this thing. All right, so I'm gonna plug it in. So I have this kilowatt that I want to show you so that y'all can see just how much power it's actually drawing. Because I think the power supply itself is only rated for like 225. So I have done an offset for the CPU, and the GPU should only draw like 75 max, because that's all it's really allowed. But I could also be wrong, because now it's also drawing power not from the motherboard but from the power supply directly. So I could be wrong on that. Okay, and then I guess here's another moment of truth. Will this plug? This plug should fit. Okay, yeah. So now you can hear it. The video card is on. It's so weird. Hold on. Yeah, it's totally on right now. But the PC is not on until I hit. Let me just show y'all me hitting the power button. This should work. Okay, so now you heard the video card ramp down, LED for power, and then hard drive, and definitely the fan has like also reduced the RPM, so that's good. All right, cool. And then it's hard to see. Wow, that's really flickering. But obviously we're in Windows now, and the PC is working. Let me just fire up superposition just to kind of show you some of the load. Well, I can't really see this thing with the light on it. Bear with me. If you've never run this program, like it's nice and quick to just do a very like crude test to see if like the GPU is working. Let's see, maybe they always on curve. Yeah, 3D comb does sound. Oh, I didn't know that, Spiggy, about the muffling of the sound for the 3D comb. So that's kind of nice. Don't forget you have front IOs. Yeah, so Spiggy, I just decided not to because I didn't want to ruin the front of it. Just put it over here. But to your point though, like this particular A2000 I have, I actually posted it on Reddit once, but like I asked like, is anyone else's card as noisy as mine? But that thing used to be like disgustingly loud. And what I did was I probably should have streamed it, but I took apart the card and dismantled the fan like altogether, and then kind of re-lubed it. And this is actually like so much quieter than it used to be. So I'm I'm just happy that it's no longer like blaring, but it used to be like worse. It's a bummer you can't really see what's on my screen, but let me just put it into this mode. So the system is working now. I think you can find a, maybe, I've never looked into that, the 3060 LP heatsink. I'll look into it. I was thinking about maybe possibly taking apart the 3050 heatsink to make it work, but I haven't gotten to that. It's a little hard to see on camera, but right now with superposition on, we are drawing 145 watts. And again, like I think I mentioned it earlier in this stream, but the original power supply for the X300 was limited to 120, and so we've kind of already gotten like a nice little boost of power to the system. And so it is nice to see. So right now we are just seeing the power draw from just the video card alone, because I think for most of this benchmark, the CPU is just kind of like chilling and sleeping. And so we're really just seeing the power draw from the video card. But again, like I mentioned, the video card will only really take 75 watts. And so the rest of that is really like the rest of the system. So I'm really stoked on that. And yeah, the mechanical sound from the A2000 is not the best. But it's like decent if you like maybe put the PC a little further away from yourself. Let's see. But yeah, this is kind of it. Like I'm really happy with it. You know, despite the little blunders I had to go through today, I think it's still pretty successful because the changes I had to do to make it not a blunder are very simple, and I'm really digging how this case looks, and I hope y'all can agree because I'm really happy with how it's turned out. And it is really cool with like how small it is. I can feel air coming in. And I had it so that this top vent, there's a VRM heatsink right below it. And so my hope was that the fan would then help cool that VRM and exhaust the hot air out. But that's pretty much it. I'm really happy with it. It looks pretty sick. And it feels pretty sturdy, but I think the sturdiness is really just like the filament that I use, the PETG with carbon fiber. It's like it's a real godsend. It's like not only does it come up looking pretty good. I mean, there's still obviously some issues here, but that's just like the speed of the head when it comes with more features here. But it's also nice because it is such a stiff material. It almost, I swear, it like stabilizes the print while it's printing too. So I'm really happy with it. Honestly, showing us the need to be adaptive helps minimize frustration to new builders. Sometimes we got to think on your feet. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, because I mean, you know, when you make the YouTube videos, like it's so easy to hide like the trials and tribulations of like creating something like this, and so. I think one of the hopes was to do these streams was one, like I absolutely hate editing, and so I'm not going to edit any of this, like it'll just be up there, and then and at the same time too, like it does, like I think give people peace of mind that like this is hard to do. It's not easy. It's not like a one-time go. You will have issues like you faced today, and I mean obviously I've made like so many cases before, but I still have these blunders, and so I hope that people watching this will also agree with you, Spiggy, in that it's really just a matter of like digging for that grit to like overcome stuff. But yeah, if you have no other questions on this build, like I think we can call it, because I've kept you all here for over 2 hours now. And I do appreciate everyone staying, because it definitely has been a long one. But I think rightfully so, though, right? It is a fresh build, new to me, new to everyone watching, and so I don't think there's really much ways to make it shorter. But I guess I could like shut up and just do it. That could be another thing too. But I like rambling. and hopefully some of those people watching like rambling too. But yeah, so I will make very slight modifications to the CAD files and basically update the files that I have already uploaded to printables, and then I'll make that public for everyone to kind of enjoy. And I'll have the links to where I bought most of the stuff, but again, it's very unlikely that I'll be making a full-on tutorial on how to actually get that 12-volt power supply in here to work, because I really just don't know if I can handle the burden of, like, if something were to happen with someone following my instructions that could have been wrong or like not detailed enough, because again, like, this particular area is like super sketchy, because again, like, touching anything in there, you could get a pretty bad shock, and you could even, like, really, it could be fatal, and it could like burn your house down. And so I think I'll just leave the parts listed and hope for the best for everyone. But yeah, so if no one has any more questions or anything, happy to end it and just say my thanks for joining today and watching, because I think it was worthwhile. I'm really happy with this build. I think it looks fantastic, and yeah, we had some issues, but easy enough to fix. And yeah, so I'll try to have more streams. I'll try to do one every week, but it's like fingers crossed. And it might slow down some of my videos, but to be honest, like, the current job I'm working right now has been like just kicking my butt, and so I just don't have any drive or energy to like sit there and edit videos right now. And I think it's just more fun to do the live streams and build these things with you live. And so with that, thank you. Again, I have an Instagram that I sometimes post to. I do have also a Patreon, so if you're not a part of it yet, you should have seen some of this the back end work for this. Like, I think I've been talking about this particular build for the last like maybe 2 months or so, and so it's really like awesome to finally see it come to fruition. And if you are part of the Patreon, I do appreciate the help you've been given already. Again, like, I mean, maybe I lied, because there have been failed prints for this already. But the money I get from Patreon essentially just pays for these projects to happen. So I really appreciate it. Can this PC work with building designing software? Yes. And so actually, this particular build here, this video card is it's not really meant for gaming. It's really like I'm not sure if you're familiar, but you have like GeForce, and then you have like Quadro in the past. And so most programs for CAD and whatnot like Quadro, and this essentially is the same. So not really meant for gaming. It's really like an enterprise card for work. Spiky Tech says, yes, you can use some higher specs combined with A-series GPU to do CAD. Yeah. And then to that other question too, like the particular CPU that's in here is 8 cores and 16 threads, and so it should be able to handle most CAD programs. I know that, like, in the past I've worked with like this one program called Katia, and you do need a pretty beast system with it. I wouldn't do it on this. Like, you want like as many cores as possible, but if you're doing most conventional CAD, like this will be like more than enough in my opinion, because you can put in, like, I think this takes like 128 gigabytes of RAM. I only have a 32 in there right now, only. But yeah, this thing can do a lot. Like, it can game, it can work. Yeah, it'll handle a lot. Braveheart asks, what would that case print on an A1? Would that case remind me again, what is the bed size for the A1? Maybe just type it in. I'll grab a ruler while you're typing it in. But I doubt it. 256. All right, let's see. I don't know. It ain't happening. No, we are off by like... Wait, actually. Darn. Wait, what did he say? 256? Right now it's looking at... Oh my god, hold on. I think So I gave this thing some clearance. I think I have like a millimeter around everything. And right now it's reading at 258. 258. So all right, so I put 5 millimeter like thickness for the walls. In the past, I've done like 3. Not advisable, but I think let me think on that. So Metal Dragon, let me think on that, because it would be interesting to see if I do reduce the wall thickness, and if y'all print it out, just to let me know, like, hey, like this actually works, or hey, like, why did you upload this? Five mils is the go to go. So yeah, let me see if I can change the file, maybe, but I guess like, yeah, like it's only like 2 millimeters off, so it could technically work. I'll think about it, but yeah, for this one, really, because it was like a lot of trialing I had to do, I didn't really take into account like printer compatibility, so I do apologize for that. But maybe moving forward, I mean, this could be easily adapted to be more modular, and so and this won't be the last you'll see of this too. I think there's a lot of promise and a lot of stuff that we can do with this, and so yeah, keep your eyes peeled. I do try to accommodate like smaller printers sometimes, but for this particular case, that was not a goal at all. Let's see, 5 to 4. Let's go. Can we hear about your Cheedy and artillery printers? Yeah, I mean, what did you want to know? Like, so basically, like from a high level, the Cheedy tech just destroys the artillery X1. But I mean, it's also like 3 times the price. Like, I think I got the artillery at $300. I probably threw in another $200 in mods to it, which doesn't count. But that was on release. It was around like $300, and then on release this was like $1,000. And so you're looking at 3x the cost. And but it does show, because I don't know if I would have attempted a lot of the current cases I have on the artillery X1, because it does give me a lot of problems, especially when I'm printing really big, because it is like a sling bed. It does move the part around. So I don't know if I don't have it with me, but if you remember my huge like white tower case, some of those parts used up the entire volume in terms of the Z-axis, and it was really sketchy watching it like moving back and forth. But what's nice about this is that obviously it's like the bed is still, it doesn't really move forward and back, it just kind of moves up and down, and so it is just nice knowing that I do have that stability with this particular build, with this particular printer. You can have both. Okay, what is better, more fast printer or more bigger? I mean, yeah, I think to Spiggy's point, I think ideally we want both. But if I were to choose one or the other, personally, I think for what I do, I would go with bigger. It would be really fun to have like a bigger printer to do more stuff. I think I said this in the last stream, but if Bamboo Labs comes out with like a 400, I will do whatever I have to do to have that in my garage, because that would just be tons of fun. So I think with 400, yeah. So I mean, to Spiggy's point, like 300 will get you to micro ATX, but with 400, you definitely can do a lot more, and it opens up so much. I think I've done 2 PCs that were ATX that could work with smaller printers, but I say this all the time, and it's just like I don't like separating parts and making panels in different parts. It's just not fun. Like, there's just something so satisfying with having like one large piece to just kind of work, and there's no like part lines in between. Yeah, because if I made this into 2 pieces, you'd see a part line here, and it's just hard to hide. Like I made one of my PCs using the honeycomb wall system, and it worked out. But I mean, I think someone was being snarky and they called it like a milk carton case, and it does kind of resemble one, but it is very like sparse. But the system did work out in terms of creating like a large case that people with really small printers can use. But again, I think it's just so fun to just build all at once. And I know that we talked about this before, Spiggy, about like moving away from monolithic designs. And you know, I think you've seen some of my cases. I've tried to do that too, but I still love like just printing it in one go because it's just so like unique and fun. Okay, let's see, what have I missed here? They have a potential 330 in their. I think 330 would honestly still be a lot of like. I could make really good use of that because I think this is only 320, and so if Bamboo Labs comes with a 330 and it still retains the same like quality and QA that they have, like I think that'd be a really fantastic buy. I think Bamboo Labs is just like killing it right now. Time to make a 1000 by 1000 by 1000. Yeah, that would be I don't know. I've seen some of the videos where they had those really large printers and they have like essentially like 4 like large print beds and they have like different zones, and it always just seems like a lot more trouble than it's worth. Like what I love about this, because it has an enclosure, I don't have to worry about drafts or anything. I think if you follow my Reddit, like my old printer, I had to build a custom cabinet for it to avoid drafts. And really, I think I'm just getting super old now, and I just want to be like set and forget. Like, you know, like you never have to worry about like your dishwasher like not working for the most part. But with 3D printing, it's a complete opposite. Like I could be like printing a small part like that printed like 5 times prior, and then all of a sudden just like, you know what, I'm just gonna crap myself and not complete this print. And so having reliability is like key. So I think if Bamboo Labs goes bigger, that'd be a lot of fun. Well, Bamboo Labs does listen to their users, so maybe 400 is possible. I definitely think it's possible. I think it's really like, I could imagine the bean counters there saying to themselves like, the market potential for a 1000 is probably really low, because I think most people are satisfied with like even their like small little like A1 minis, right? Because you can still do a lot of stuff with that, but I think once you get into like past the 250s, it's when like there's a trade-off between size and like actually utilizing it, right? I mean, to that point too, like I don't think I've ever used the full height of this. No, I lied, because the red PC used the full height. This thing I would not have done on the Artillery X1. There was no way I would have even risked it, because it would have just fallen down. So that's like kind of where the cheaty tech comes in pretty clutch. Well, you could use supports and print an angle. You definitely can. If I had more Patreon members, then yeah, I would love to just like print supports, like go crazy, you know, like because sometimes those supports like really add up. Like, give me 1 second. There's like one really bad example I have. Okay, this ended up failing anyways, but this is essentially this part right here. I mean, this part already is like, this is bad design. Like, it's just like, it was not optimized at all. But one thing I was trying to avoid, it's hard to see, I guess you can see it at some angles, but you definitely will see some stair stepping because of just how flat it is, and the actual slope is so subtle that you do end up having like flat layers essentially, because there's no way around that unless you like go with a lower resolution or a lower layer height. So I tried to like futz around by like tilting it higher to make that slope a little more severe, but you just use up so much like material. Like, this thing failed, but I'm kind of glad it kind of failed, because this is just so much material wasted doing like whatchamacallit, doing large prints but you know, getting around the small print bed by using angled orientation. But I definitely have used it in the past, and it is definitely possible. So you just use it more material. Let's see. Well, you could use. I think your first case was a flat pack design. I don't. No, I don't think it was. I think it was also monolithic. I believe the first case was very similar to this, but it was obviously wider, and I think it used like. Do I have it here? Give me like 30 seconds. Sorry, it took a little longer. My garage is like a war zone. But, so this is, I don't think I even released this at all, but this was like when I still had an old, uh-oh, I think I just lost internet. Oh no. This is so classic. But yeah, I don't think I even released this to be shared because, again, it was back then when I was using like 3mm walls, and so it just it didn't work out very well. But yeah, definitely still monolithic. And I think the next case I did was also monolithic. I only really started doing it after we had our conversation, Spiggy, because like in my head I was like, you know what, it's just like more fun to have these big designs. But I mean, as I made more videos, obviously, like, you know, what you were saying was true. Like, everybody appreciates like something you can print on a smaller printer, and honestly, you were the one that really inspired some of the new builds that can be used on smaller printers, because I think like you were really going on and really advocating for like more flat pack or smaller printers. So yeah, that's definitely like you were an inspiration for that for sure. Okay, let's see. Let's do this, team. Let's get more viewers. Yeah, that would definitely help, and you'll see a lot more like angled prints with supports that use up like an entire roll. Yeah. So yeah, this is actually like probably the first 3D printed case I made. Looking at it now, it is just bad. But you know, I mean, I can't be hard on myself because it was the first one, and you know, like obviously, like as years have gone by and I've made more, like I've obviously gained a lot more stuff and skills, but this was still pretty fun though. Like it was a ITX build with a Flex ATX power supply. Again, I have like these vents that I again tried to melt in. I guess I didn't have a soldering iron back then. I don't know what I was using. I must have been like literally melting like filament with a lighter or something, so who knows what I was doing with that. But yeah, it was ITX Flex ATX, and I did create like this little cover. It was supposed to help like direct air and whatnot, but it didn't quite work out. But I'll try to tackle it again. But to that point though, like look at this thing. So these would have used the same CPU, but you know, thinner, slightly taller, but this is like way more capable than this ever would be, in my opinion. Unless like they come up with like really awesome APUs, but I think there's like it's not gonna happen, I don't think. So Spiggy says, looking at both side by side, man, we've grown so much, except your cases. They seem to have gone so... Yeah, I mean, I try to go small. Like, I love small cases. But yeah, to their point, though, like, it is... I mean, I know it's like hoarding, keeping all my old prints, but it is just nice to look back at some of them and just kind of smile, like, man, like, the things I would have done differently. But obviously, you just kind of accept what you've made, and with the limits you had. And, you know, this was it. But definitely learned a lot from this, and still learning, obviously. I need to get my measurements down better, but yeah, pretty stoked on this. So yeah, I mean, I think we've gone way over time, and I do appreciate everyone staying and chatting and and hopefully y'all appreciated the new case I designed here, because I hate to toot my own horn, but I'm like stoked on it. Look at this thing. It's so cool. And it feels good in your hand, honestly. Like I hope people can print it themselves just to appreciate it. I'm really happy with it. But to that point, this won't be the last. I'll try to get a video out. It's just so hard, but I do want to tackle some old cases that have been talked about in the comments a lot, but definitely have a lot in the pipeline. The issue is time, and so it's not a matter of like coming up with ideas. It's a matter of making those ideas into reality. So yeah, your test is still on. I think it'll be a test until I'm dead. So yeah, it'll never be over. And if it is, it's because AI did it. But for now, thank you for joining, and I'll see you on the next one. And again, you can reach me on Instagram and Reddit. But for now, I'll call that good, and I'll see you all in the next one. Later, everyone.